Right, so we're back and ready to really get into Chapter 3 of Sorcerer's Stone,
Yeah,
The Letters from No One, and we've got some good stuff to work with today.
definitely.
We got some discussion questions, a quiz, and of course the chapter itself.
Right.
And you know what? There's a lot more to uncover here than maybe meets the eye at first glance. So
I think so.
you ready to get into it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. This chapter is really foundational for the whole series, I think.
Yeah.
When you think about themes like, destiny and belonging and all that.
Okay, so we left off with Harry stuck with the Dursleys, and his summer is just like shaping up to be
Right, yeah.
just as miserable as ever.
Yeah.
And the chapter really kind of drives home their cruelty, you know?
Right.
Remember that whole boa constrictor incident?
Uh-huh.
The poor kid gets punished for something Dudley did, and then just to kind of twist the knife even more,
Right.
Dudley's off to this like fancy boarding school called Smell Things.
Yeah, it's not even just about being mean, though.
Right.
The Dursleys really represent this, like, stifling, ordinary world
Mm-hmm.
that's actively trying to squash anything magical or different.
Yeah.
They're terrified of Harry's true nature because it challenges, like, everything they believe in.
Yeah. And then bam, the letters start showing up.
Yeah.
Yellowish, parchment, emerald green ink, that purple wax seal with the coat of arms.
Yeah.
It's like a postcard from another dimension.
Right. And the way they're addressed, it's like whoever sent them, like, knows Harry better than he knows himself.
Right.
Cupboard under the stairs. I mean, come on, that's creepy.
It really is.
It's like destiny is, like, literally knocking at the door.
Yeah. And speaking of creepy Uncle Vernon's reaction,
Oh, gosh.
I mean, the guy goes from nailing the mail slot shut to like breaking up the entire house.
Yeah.
You'd think he was trying to keep out zombies, not a bunch of letters.
You would think, right?
It's so interesting though, because like his fear is just like so palpable, you can just feel it.
Yeah.
Like imagine being so terrified of something you don't even understand.
That you'd uproot your entire family and flee to some shack on a tiny island in the middle of a storm.
Like trying to outrun the inevitable.
Totally.
But the letters keep coming.
I know, it's
Like
crazy.
tucked into eggs crammed under the door. It's almost comical, but it's also kind of unsettling. Like magic is finding a way no matter what.
Yeah, yeah. And all of this is happening as Harry's 11th birthday is approaching.
Right.
Which, in the wizarding world is a pretty significant milestone.
Yeah.
It's the traditional age for receiving your Hogwarts acceptance letter.
Mm-hmm.
So the timing here, it's definitely not a coincidence.
It's like this countdown.
Yeah.
And with every letter that gets through, it just ratchets up the tension.
Totally.
Something big is about to happen. But the question is what?
Right. Well, we know that the Dursleys end up holed up in this, like, really bleak, isolated shack.
Right.
Almost like a physical manifestation of their attempts to just shut out the magical world.
Yeah.
And then as if on cue, the storm hits.
It's like nature itself is conspiring with these forces of magic
Right.
to break down their defenses.
Yeah, the imagery is so powerful there. It's not just wind and rain. It's like this chaotic energy
Right.
that's just building and building,
Mm-hmm.
ready to burst.
Yeah, and then in the middle of all this, you've got this mysterious figure appearing.
Right.
This like giant of a man rowing towards the shack.
Yeah.
In this like rickety old boat. Definitely not your average delivery guy.
Talk about a cliffhanger.
I know, right?
It's like the calm before the storm.
It is.
We know something huge is about to happen,
Yeah.
but we're left hanging just like Harry,
Yeah.
wondering who is this stranger and what does he want?
Absolutely. It's really fascinating how the author uses the setting of the shack
Yeah.
to kind of mirror the Dursleys' state of mind.
Right.
They're literally on this tiny, windswept rock, cut off from the world,
Mm-hmm.
just desperately clinging to this illusion of normalcy, right? It's like a metaphor for how isolated they've become.
Totally.
Not just physically, but emotionally too.
Yeah.
They've built these walls around themselves,
Uh-huh.
and they're just terrified of anything that might threaten their carefully constructed reality.
And yet, despite all their efforts, those letters just keep finding a way.
I know, it's crazy.
Like, remember how they're described like bullets?
Uh-huh.
Like a flood, like something unstoppable.
Right.
It's almost like the magic itself is becoming tangible.
Yeah.
Like pushing its way into their world, whether they like it or not.
Right. It's like those letters represent Harry's true identity.
Exactly.
And no amount of denial or repression can keep that hidden forever.
And the closer we get to Harry's 11th birthday,
Right.
the more that tension just becomes, like, palpable.
Yeah.
Even the quiz questions kind of highlight this, asking about, like, the significance of this particular birthday in the wizarding world.
Like a ticking time bomb.
Totally.
Every letter that arrives, every desperate attempt to block them, just heightens that anticipation for what's to come.
And you can't help but feel for Harry a little bit in all this.
Right.
The discussion questions really dive into, like, his emotional state, you know? He's being denied even the simplest joy of a birthday.
Right.
Surrounded by these people who clearly resent him and fear him.
And he doesn't even know what magic is at this point.
Right.
But you can sense that wonder.
Yeah.
And that curiosity about those letters.
Totally.
He knows they hold answers.
Uh-huh.
Like a key to something bigger than the life he's been forced to live.
Yeah, it's that classic hero's journey archetype, you know?
Right.
The call to adventure, the pull towards something extraordinary.
And in this case, the call is coming in the form of hundreds of letters.
Hundreds of letters.
Delivered by increasingly creative means.
Right.
And then, just when the tension is at its peak, we have this incredible moment.
Yeah.
The storm's raging, the shack is creaking, and then bam.
That knock at the door.
This earth-shattering knock on the door. I know.
It's like a physical manifestation of the magical world breaking through.
Such a brilliant use of sensory detail, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like the howling wind, the crashing waves. The Dursleys are huddled inside, terrified.
Right.
And then this sudden, powerful intrusion.
Talk about a cliffhanger.
I know, right?
We're left with so many questions.
So many questions.
Who is this visitor?
Right.
How did they find Harry in this remote shack? What are the Dursleys going to do?
But more importantly, what does this mean for Harry?
Yeah.
This is the moment his life truly changes.
Right.
This is the moment that he steps out of the shadows and into this world he never knew existed.
It's like the opening act of a play.
Is.
Setting the stage for everything that's to come.
Yeah.
You've got the conflict established, the Dursleys versus the magical world, and the hero, Harry, caught in the middle.
Yeah.
About to be swept away on an incredible adventure.
Yeah. It's incredible how much is packed into that one scene, right?
We've got the symbolism of the storm, the Dursleys just like desperate attempts at control.
Yeah.
And then this mysterious figure who just appears out of nowhere.
Right.
It's the perfect blend of suspense and drama and a little bit of the surreal.
And let's not forget that humor that's woven throughout.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the quiz questions even point out some of those moments.
Yeah.
Like Uncle Vernon trying to board up the house with a hammer and a Christmas cake.
I love that detail.
It's such a small detail. But it just perfectly captures his character.
Totally.
This, like, blustering, stubborn man who's completely out of his depth.
Right.
So back to that knock on the door.
Yeah.
We don't actually meet the visitor in this chapter.
Right.
But the discussion questions really make you think about who it could be and what their arrival signifies.
Yeah, well, the chapter title gives us the pretty big clue.
Right.
The letters from no one. Clearly someone is behind those letters.
Yeah.
Someone who's determined to reach Harry no matter what.
And that determination really speaks volumes.
It does.
It suggests that Harry is important, that he has a role to play in this world that even he doesn't understand yet.
The wizarding world is actively seeking him out.
Right.
Which implies that he's not just some ordinary kid.
Yeah.
There's something special about him, something that sets him apart.
It's like a prophecy unfolding.
Yeah.
A destiny that can't be denied.
Right. And the Dursleys, with their fear and their attempts to control everything, they represent the forces that are trying to keep that destiny hidden.
But ultimately, their efforts are futile.
Yeah.
The magic is too powerful, too insistent. It's like a river breaking through a dam.
You can't stop it.
There's no stopping it.
And that's where this chapter leaves us.
Right.
Like right on the cusp of this major turning point.
Yeah.
Harry's life is about to change forever.
And we as readers are right there with him.
Totally.
On the edge of our seats waiting to see what happens next.
So as you keep reading, pay attention to how this chapter sets the stage for everything that follows. The themes of destiny and identity and the power of truth.
Right.
They're all introduced here, and they're going to resonate throughout the entire series.
It's amazing how much depth and foreshadowing is packed into these first few chapters.
No, it's crazy, right?
And for anyone out there tackling this book in class,
Yeah.
I'd say chapter 3 is like a gold mine.
It is.
For analysis and discussion.
So much to unpack there.
Yeah.
From the symbolism to the character development to those larger themes at play.
Right.
It's a chapter that really rewards close reading and thoughtful consideration.
Well, that was quite a deep dive.
It was.
Thanks for joining us as we explored all the magic and mystery of Chapter 3.
Of course.
We can't wait to see what adventures await us in the next chapter.
Me neither.
Until then, keep those wands at the ready. And remember, the magic is always out there waiting to be discovered.